Ke freita ga re ja mo karagana mo lena go le itumedisang mo SABC3. It's Expresso, baby. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we all know that Jupiter is the fifth planet from our sun. It was first observed by Galileo in 1610. Now, the gas giant holds many secrets that may help us to better understand the origins of our very own solar system. And NASA is sending a spacecraft to investigate. And once again, we're joined by Jono Weltman to unpack this very fascinating story for us. Looking at that, my mind is already just blown, right?
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
What makes this particular planet so important and so interesting out of the 8 that are there?
Well, it's the biggest by far. If you took all the other planets combined, Jupiter is 2.5 times the mass of all of them. And it's also the very first planet to have formed. But most importantly of all, as a gas giant, it's very, very much the same as it was almost on the day it was created.
Wow.
So it holds a lot of secrets about how our solar system formed.
So exactly how are we getting there?
Well, we sent a spacecraft called Juno back in 2011, but the rockets we have are not powerful enough to get us the 600 million kilometers to Jupiter. So we had to do something called a deep space maneuver. Just as the rocket got a little bit past Mars, we turned it back towards Earth, and then we slingshot it, or we did what we call a gravity assist around the Earth, so we could give it enough speed to get all the way out there. So when it arrives in Jupiter in July, 4th of July, it'll have traveled 2.8 billion kilometers.
I'm just saying it's already a conspiracy theory that it's arriving on the 4th of July, Independence Day. I don't know, we come in peace. But so 6 years it's taken to get there.
It's taken 6 years, yeah.
And what are going to be the implications now when we get there in terms of it actually arriving safely and it recovering all the information it needs to get?
Well, one of the problems is it's traveling at about 100,000 kilometers an hour when it gets to Jupiter. Now we need to slow it down so we can put it into an orbit around Jupiter. It's going to orbit Jupiter for 24 months, for 2 years. It's going
in order to slow down?
We have to, no, we're going to slow it down just to put it into that orbit.
Okay.
So we're going to use some maneuvering, space maneuvering to slow it down. And we're putting it in a polar orbit. So for the first time, we're actually going to go around the poles of Jupiter. Now, one orbit of Jupiter will take 14 days in order to do an orbit of Jupiter. We're going to do about 37 of them in 2 years. And then we're going to crash it into the planet so that we don't contaminate any of the moons.
Almost like a waste of a spaceship, bring it back home. But I guess, yeah, we don't have the technology to bring it back yet, or the fuel, at least. So what are we hoping to actually find on this mission after, 24 months of orbiting around and crashing it, hopefully somebody finds it?
There are a lot of unknowns. We don't know how exactly planets get created. We don't know if there's a core inside Jupiter, if it was just formed around the gases. And so we're hoping to understand a lot about our early solar system and how the planets were formed and how water arose in the other planets and what effect Jupiter had in creating Earth and the other planets.
Yeah.
And this probe and the instruments aboard that will, for the very first time, give us insights into not just the surface of Jupiter, which we've seen before, which is a lot of cloud, but what's going on underneath.
My goodness, fascinating stuff. What are you hoping we'll find?
Well, I'm hoping that we'll understand a lot more about planetary formation and how to look for planets like Earth elsewhere in the universe. So the more we understand these big gas giants, the more they can tell us where to look for other Earth-type planets.
I want to check out this quick picture that we have of Juno. Apparently took a picture of Cape Town.
Yes, when we did the slingshot around the Earth, Juno spent 20 minutes going around the dark side of the Earth. It's the only time that it was actually in darkness because it's solar propelled. And at the top you can see the limb, what we call the limb or the border of the Earth, which is lit up by the sun.
Okay,
and those lights down there, that's Cape Town at about 8:20 in the evening back in October 2013.
That looks like a bit of a splattered butterfly, almost. Butterfly that's just, or a bird just had a bit of an accident there.
From about 600 kilometers up.
Very, very cool stuff. Jono, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Absolute pleasure.
And of course, we'll keep updating you as soon as we have more information on the adventures of Juno out there in the great galaxy. Right now, here's Leanne with the news.